All right, welcome back to Nails.X.Stephanie and another week of working with my clients. This client is Sarah. Absolutely love Sarah. She always gives me great ideas to work with. Met her around Christmas time. She started coming to me at the salon and always had great design references for me to work with. So, and this is no exception. She actually texted me beforehand so that I knew what I was going to be doing and had time to prepare. We are doing a full Gel-X application, which I'm happy to show you for once doing it on someone else versus doing it on myself. It's the same process, slightly more difficult for me, at least, to apply on someone else because you don't have complete control over the hands. You have to kind of work with the client, or the client has to work with you in raising and moving around the hand to get underneath the light to flash cure. And sometimes it's not all that easy, but with Sarah it was relatively so, and the tips went on very well. Had no problems, glad to say. Right now I'm just sizing them out to make sure that they're all properly fit to her nail beds. I did have problems with her right thumb. The corner didn't exactly go in as well as I thought it would, but I was able to kind of do a backfill once the nails were applied to get that smooth transition from the nail going into the proximal nail fold, or the cuticle line if you want to refer to it as that. Excuse me, I got a little bit of congestion. But right now I'm just going in and I'm priming the tips, doing a little bit of a chemical etching. I prefer doing chemical etching because that way you're not dealing with dust all over your work surface and on the nails. And I feel like it does a better job of preparing the nails so that it creates that double-sided tackiness that you need when you're going in and applying them to the nail. I then went in and dehydrated the nail. Now I'm priming the nail, and I'm going to go in and do a base coat of gel. I don't know if it's necessarily something that you have to do. It's something that I've always done because of how I watched other nail artists apply tips, and also when I watch videos of Gel-X application, that not only from other nail techs but from like Prey themselves. There's always a base coat that's done on the nails before you go ahead and apply the tips themselves. So I think it creates a protective layer on your nail, and also if for whatever reason there's an issue with lifting and moisture gets up underneath it, it's likely that that moisture is going to get in between the layers of gel and not in between the gel and your nail, causing issues with Pseudomonas bacteria, otherwise known as greenies. Just creates an extra layer of protection. So I'm doing that to both hands, having her cure. Gel-X, a Prey, you only need to cure for 30 seconds, but I usually leave it on 60 seconds anyway. That way it's, you know, it's definitely cured 100%. So I apologize for the flash curing lamp being right in the middle of the viewfinder. I didn't realize it was that close. When I go and work on her left hand, you don't see it, although you don't really see much of her hand either. I feel like you saw enough to warrant me actually keeping the footage in. But basically, putting a thin layer of gel on the nail and then scraping a bit more off at the cuticle line, putting it down on the nail at an angle, and then slowly lowering it so that the gel, pushes forward towards the free edge, and then going ahead and curing it underneath the flash curing lamp. This one is from, what's the brand? I can't think of the brand of the lamp right now. I will link it down below. It is touch sensitive, which makes it a lot more easy to work with. There's a master switch on the base to turn the lamp on, and then there's a sensor on the head and on the light itself that when you tap it, it goes on. You don't have to worry about pressing buttons or anything. It is on a timer, so it will automatically turn itself off, but I believe it's set to 30 seconds and I don't flash for that long. It's usually about 10-15 seconds. So you just tap, turn it on, tap, turn it off. So going ahead and doing all 5 fingers, then she's going to put her hand in the lamp and fully cure, because flash curing does not fully cure. And then I'll move on to the other hand. So here you can see it a little bit better, how I'm placing it down on the nail and slowly pushing it down so that the gel reaches the free edge. There are sometimes when I do it, I'm able to wiggle the nail back and forth and create kind of like a vacuum seal so that it doesn't start to lift before I can get it under the lamp to flash cure it. That allows me the ability to completely lift my hand off the nail so I'm not putting pressure on it, and the gel and the nail stay put, if that makes sense. It doesn't move. I don't have to worry about putting more pressure on potentially having that gel seep out either around the cuticle or pushing out farther along the free edge so that it, that tacky part is open to the elements, so to speak. But sometimes it doesn't work. It really depends on the curvature of the nail and the curvature of the client's nail bed. Usually, the more flat the nail bed is, the easier it is to create that vacuum seal. So the less pressure you have to put. It also depends on how much gel you're using. You want to make sure that you're using enough that it reaches the free edge without too much pressure, but you don't want to use so much that you create such a overabundance of gel between the tip and the nail plate itself. So you can see I put the nail down, lifted it off, scraped it, and put it back down. I don't remember exactly what was going on here. I think it was seeping out a little bit too much, so I pulled it off, tried to scrape it off the nail plate, and then put it back down. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you need to wipe the nail and start over, but this time I was able to clean it up enough that I got a solid application before I went and put it underneath the lamp to flash cure it. I do know I did scan ahead and see that I used my nippers to pull away some of the gel. I did get seepage on one of the nails. I think I'm going in now. Yeah, I'm just going around the cuticle to pull away any excess gel that might have flooded the cuticle before she puts her lamp in to do a final cure. Because since she flash cured, it's solid enough that it's not going to move, but it's still soft enough that I can pull the glue away without it completely hardening, which makes it a little bit easier for cleanup after the fact. So now I'm going in with my cone-shaped carbide bit to clean up and smooth around the cuticle line and the sidewalls. This helps it blend a little bit better into the natural nail plate and into the cuticle so that you don't get lifting as the nail starts to grow out. And then I'll, proceed in with more smoothing methods using sanding band, using my safety cuticle bit, just to really create that smooth transition It'll also help when I'm applying the gel that you don't get any leveling issues with the gel polish itself. Sometimes if it's not completely smoothed out, you will see a slight ridge underneath the gel polish, and that's not something that I want to have happen. And it also just adds to the longevity of the nail set. I was very happy. The next video I think I post is another client of mine. I did a Legend of Zelda set, and when she came in for her fill, it was the first time I'd ever done Gel X on her. She came in for her fill after a month. She usually comes in every 3 weeks, but she was away. Absolutely no lifting, perfect growth, perfect retention. After a month, I was not only pleased that she didn't have any issues just in general, but, pat on my back, proud of myself that I did, a really good job in applying the nails and smoothing it out so that it grew out the way that we all wanted to. I always like to go back in with my cuticle nippers, even though I already did her cuticles. When you're going over the nails and you're sanding down the line between the tip and the nail plate, you're always going to kick up some more skin, make it a little bit ragged. I know one of the nail techs that I work with at the salon, she usually saves the majority of the cuticle work for after for this reason. But I find that I get better application of not only just gel polish, but extensions if I do a proper nail prep and cuticle prep before I do the tip application, even though I have to do a little bit more cleanup after the fact. This way, I know that the tips are going to be applied properly and they're going to stay securely, and I don't have to worry about any protein on the nail plate that's going to make the nails prematurely lift. So now I'm just going in with a sanding band, roughing up the surface. I'm going to go in with the chemical etching again after the fact. Yes, it adds time to the service, but it just makes me feel that much more confident that when I do go in and clean off the dust and put on the gel polish, it will, be that much more secure. So this is an example of me working backwards. I completely forgot that the tips were a little bit too long. She wanted them a little bit shorter, a little bit more round. I believe I used medium stilettos, and we go for more of a rounded almond with her. So after I went and I prepped the nails and got them ready for gel, then I had to go back in and file. Since the chemical etching doesn't leave a tacky surface, I wasn't really too worried about having to re-clean the nail plate. Just a dusting with the dust brush works just fine. So these are going to be a bit of a thinner consistency. Okay. Definitely feeling the apres.
What's it called?
Apres? It's French for after. Sorry, Tiny. We're using another time. Yeah. So it would build, you would see it more, but that versus...
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Those are definitely cute, and I like that they're translucent. Possibly the next.
Oh, we'll figure out something next.
Yes.
Okay, so which colors do you want on which fingers, or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Were you filming that? So
yes.
You're gonna see our fingers.
Yeah, so just thought I'd leave that little excerpt in because I thought it was cute. And so now I'm just going in and I'm polishing all of her nails. We've got the pink, blue, then I think I did green, yellow, and purple on the thumb. Although I really loved, in the end, the way her nails turned out, and I'll get more into it once I'm doing the 3D portions of it. I kind of like just the plain pastel nails as well. I find a lot of these inspiration pieces that go up online, they don't take into account the wearability and the steps it takes to actually make sure that they live well on the client's nails. So for instance, this set, which was done for Easter by Daily Charm. It's absolutely gorgeous. What they posted is just perfection. But if someone was to wear this set without any of the safeguards, and I'll explain what I mean in a moment, the rhinestones would just pop right off within seconds because they weren't properly encapsulated or anything. They were just stuck on with a little bit of nail glue and cured. And I feel like the set that I did isn't as clean as it would otherwise be if I did it exactly the same way that they did it on Daily Charm. So I'm going to finish doing the polish. I'll let that play out, and then once I go into actually doing the rhinestones, I'll explain what I mean. Something else I wanted to mention with opaque colors, cream colors, particularly whites, yellows, blacks, you want to make sure you put on really, really thin layers, even if you have to do 3 coats, because I've had the experience with Apres specifically in the past, particularly with the yellow, that you put it on thin, you go ahead and cure it, you think it's cured 100%, and then you go up and put on subsequent coats and it starts buckling because the top of it is completely cured, but the underlayers are not. So make sure that even if you have to do more coats than you initially may want to do, you go in and brush it on very, 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 very thinly. So that way it cures 100%. You don't have to worry about issues of it peeling or, heaven forbid, contact dermatitis and gel allergies and everything that, comes along with improperly cured gel. Okay, so the next step, and I wasn't sure which gel I wanted to use at first. Did I go and put a matte? Yeah, I did matte coat first because we're going to be doing some chroming. So I'm using, I don't remember if yes. Okay, sorry. It's been a while since I actually did this set. I'm using the Crazy Top No Wipe thick top coat, and I'm putting in the flowers. I'm using the Crazy Top because it's thick, but also because it's no wipe, because then we're going to go in and we're going to chrome on top of it. And I didn't want to have to first do a tacky coat and then go over it with no wipe and then the chrome, and then too many times of going over and over and over again, that it would end up distorting the design. So I'd rather use a product that's all in one. So while I am flash curing it for like 4 or 5 seconds, when she does go ahead and put her hand in the lamp, she's only putting it in for like 20 seconds to get that partial flash cure so that can go in and then chrome on top of it. So I did all of her nails at once with the floral design, and then we're going to go ahead and use a pearlescent glass chrome. I'm using Bridie from Magpie Beauty to go ahead and create that glass effect floral design. Now that that is done, I am going over it again with a liner brush and no wipe top coat. Usually when I do chroming, I like to go over things with a base coat and then a top coat so that you get that extra tackiness before you go on top with a top coat. I was relatively confident that it would be fine to just do the top coat on top. Only time will tell. She hasn't texted me saying that there's been any problems, and it's been 2 weeks already. So I hope that she hasn't had any problems with the no wipe top coat peeling and the glass chrome washing away. But we'll find out, along with the issues with the rhinestones that I will get into in a moment. Okay, so now we're putting in the rhinestones, and like I said, the way that it was done on Daily Charm is, first of all, they were done on like press-ons, and secondly, and I was going back and forth between rhinestones and caviar beads because the smallest rhinestone I had wasn't quite small enough and looked a little ostentatious and out of place. So I did a mix of the caviar beads and the rhinestones, depending upon the size of the nail. But the way that Daily Charm did it is they did just this step. They put down the glue, they put down the rhinestone, cured it, and that's it. If you do that and you hit your nail, the rhinestone is going to come flying right off. There's no longevity in that. You need to fully encapsulate it, or at least go around the nail again with top coat and push the top coat up over the edge of the rhinestones so that it, really grips it to the surface of the nail. Being that there's so many different products and so many different techniques and steps to these nails, what I should have maybe done is put the rhinestones on first before I put the matte top coat on, so that when I'm putting the matte top coat on, I can do the encapsulation portion of it and get it, fully locked onto the surface of the nail. Because once you do 3D flowers and you do the chroming and you go over the chroming again with the top coat, to then have to go over the rhinestones and encapsulate them in any way that's not going to further float the nail and distort the rest of the design is a headache. So what I ended up doing was just at the end, once the rhinestones and the caviar beads are fully secure on the nail with just the glue, I brushed top coat over each rhinestone and caviar bead to try to get it set and encapsulated on the nail. And like I said, once the nails were completely cleansed and she washed her hands and whatever residue was left on the nails from the whole process of doing this set was cleaned, they look really nice. I really like the way they came out, but they're not as clean and streamlined as they look in the reference because of the fact that they were done as a showpiece and not as a set of nails that would have any kind of life and longevity in the process of, normal everyday wear and tear. So finishing off with some hand cream, I'm using Vaseline Intensive Care Aloe, then finishing up with some nice pineapple scented cuticle oil. Gave her a nice warm towel, and that's going to take us to the end of this session with Sarah and this video. Let me know what you think. Definitely, I hope I hope you liked it as she flexes and stretches out her hands. And if you have any suggestions for upcoming content. If you have any comments or questions about this video, please drop it down below. All the products that I used will be in the description box below. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.